All porn is gay. This comes to us from a series of articles by writer Henry Makow. I'll leave a link below to Henry Makow's website. If Hugh Hefner, the founder of Playboy, is any indication, a life dedicated to porn and promiscuity leads to homosexuality and impotence. The 60s icon of suave masculinity is, in old age, a grotesque self-parody. Hefner, who is now well into his 80s, pays a bevy of whores $2,000 a week to be his girlfriends and have sex with him every Wednesday and Friday. He uses Viagra and watches male gay porn to stay erect, while as many as 10 concubines mount him in succession, while the other girls simulate lesbian sex all around the bedroom to keep him aroused. He doesn't really do anything, says Jillian Spaulding, author of the book Upstairs. He just lies there with his Viagra erection. It's just a fake erection, and each girl gets on top of him for about 2 minutes while the girls in the background try to keep him excited. They cheer him on, they cheer her on. They yell things like, "F her daddy, F her daddy." No one becomes a playmate without having intercourse with Hefner. The quote, "girl next door" is now a whore, and Hefner's model and example of arrested development is a fitting epitaph for his Playboy philosophy. Playboy was never a spontaneous phenomenon. It is in fact a social engineering which is designed to foster homosexuality and the family breakdown. Spaulding is an ex-playmate, and she pulls no punches as she reveals what really goes on behind Hef's closed doors. Shocking and dangerous sexual practices, misguided and backstabbing young women echo through the infamous mansion's halls, and that's really just the tip of the iceberg. Spaulding actually wrote the book. She chose to publish it on her own and had vowed to give all proceeds to Prehad, which is a service that helps victims of domestic violence as well as the homeless. In the Playboy mansion, Hugh Hefner has what he calls his personal slaves. A personal slave is someone who has to follow all the rules of Hef where you're asked to move out. She gets to live in the house, but she has a 9:30 p.m. curfew, and she has to participate on Wednesdays and Fridays for sex night. They're required nights for sex. You have to go upstairs to Hef's bedroom unless you just had a nose job or a major operation. Otherwise, you have to go. Even if it's that time of the month or you're sick and the doctors tell you that you can't participate, you still have to show up that night. On sex night, you go upstairs and the girls that are brand new, or the girls who don't have their own room yet, have to take a bath. That's a requirement. You also have to put on a certain pair of pink pajamas. They're all lined up and neat. You can tell they've been to the cleaners. They tell you to put them on, even though you take them off as soon as you enter the room. It's pitch dark in there, and there's loud techno music playing. There's also 2 big screen TVs. As far as the sexual encounter goes, he doesn't really do anything. He just lies there with his Viagra erection. It's a fake erection, and each girl gets on top for a few minutes while the girls in the background try to keep him excited. The main girlfriend, when they're done, wipes off his penis. She's the girl who actually shares the bed with him. She sleeps there all night. She's around 22 years old and uses the same girls all the time. It's interesting because each girl pairs up with another girl and they pretend to have girl-on-girl sex while Hef is having his turn with the other girl. It's not real lesbian sex. We're all just pretending, because nobody really likes each other. There's also gay porn playing constantly in the background. It's also important to understand that pretty much every woman that makes it into Playboy has had sex with Hugh Hefner. However, some girls don't have to be hoes to get in, like Carrie Harrison. She was in soap operas, so she already had a following. She didn't have to be a hoe. But if you want to try getting in Playboy by sleeping with Hef, how does it work? What's the first step? Do you just come up to him in a club and tell him you want to be in Playboy if he likes you? He takes you? Does he take you home? Yes. In the book I list real names of girls who actually slept with Hugh Hefner and made Playmate, and as soon as they made Playmate, they moved out. And each and every one of these women approached Hugh Hefner in the way I just described. The establishment agenda is to destabilize and neuter us by encouraging homosexual behavior. This ensures we don't propagate, since homosexuals have sex but typically don't have children. They redefine homosexual as a sexual preference or a lifestyle choice rather than a developmental disorder so as to entrap us. Never mind that the vast majority of homosexuals come from dysfunctional families or suffered sexual abuse as youths, our reluctance to embrace homosexuality is considered bigotry. In response, let's take liberties with these definitions ourselves. Having the right paradigm is the key to healthy behavior. Forget about what you normally think of gay or straight. Think of heterosexuality as monogamous and dedicated to rearing children, and homosexuality as promiscuous and concerned with sex for its own sake. Heterosexuality involves bonding permanently with a member of the opposite sex for love and usually procreation. It is participating in the natural cycle of life, in the intrinsic meaning of life. Personal and societal health depend on heterosexuality. Homosexuality is a form of arrested development caused by an inability to form a heterosexual bond. As a result, homosexuals compensate using sex as a surrogate for love. In these terms, society has become more homosexual because due to the social engineering, i.e. sexual revolution, feminism, many heterosexuals now fail to permanently bond. Normally, happily married heterosexuals can put sex in perspective and move on to more important things. A perceptive reader recently wrote to me, "If heterosexual sex outside of marriage is acceptable, if we eliminate the procreative aspect from sex, are heterosexuals any different from homosexuals in regards to the sexual activity?" Exactly. I know these definitions are not politically correct. PC, of course, is propaganda, social engineering, and mind control. PC is actually an old Communist Party term. I do not disparage gays. According to my definitions, the vast majority of homosexuals are really heterosexuals like Hugh Hefner, and a small minority of homosexuals are monogamous and partake in some heterosexual values. The Illuminati bankers needed to introduce, quote, world government to translate their unjust monopoly over credit into total world control. They realized that they couldn't take control until they destroyed the family. This was a main plank of the Communist Manifesto in 1848, along with the creation of a private central bank. Every major revolution in modern history has increased Illuminati banker control, and the sexual revolution is no exception. The Illuminati used Hugh Hefner's Playboy to divorce sex from love, marriage, and family. They own the major cartels and control the media through advertising. Human beings are malleable and take their standards from movies. There is nothing so destructive to human society as the separation of sex and love. It literally reduces men to dogs and women to fire hydrants. The Illuminati wishes to harness sex in the interests of hate. Love is the enemy of hate and must be destroyed. According to our definition of homosexuality, which is promiscuity outside of love and or procreation, all pornography is gay. The porn consumer is engaged in a promiscuous masturbatory fantasy. He is not focused on his marriage or progeny. From what I have said, it should be clear that homosexuality is incompatible with heterosexuality, just as promiscuity is incompatible with monogamy. Many gay activists admit that their ultimate goal is to destroy heterosexuality. Pornography is poisoning heterosexuality. There is a place for tasteful nudity as a stopgap while seeking marriage. But as you know, pornography has reached epidemic proportions. Adult Video News predicted revenue of $12.6 billion this year alone. The internet has literally thousands of porn sites. TV and pop music increasingly are becoming even more pornographic themselves. Pornography warps the way a man sees all women and girls. Many sites include girls as young as 14. I hate to burst the bubble on a billion-dollar industry, but young, naked women are practically identical. By that I mean they have identical equipment. Boobs and bush, symmetrical faces. Do men need to see literally thousands of examples of this? There is something addictive here. Why don't men get sick of it? Why don't they suffer from gynecologists' fatigue? The plethora of breasts and splayed legs takes the wonder out of sex and causes contempt for women and impotence. Maybe this is the point. Maybe new drugs will keep people running on empty. Sexual attraction is mostly a function of a woman's fertility. Women are designed to marry and procreate when they are young and most attractive. Marriage ensured that men would have to commit if they wanted sex. By undermining marriage, occult social engineers have turned a critical social and reproductive activity into a lifetime obsession, better to divert, degrade, and control the masses. We were not prepared for the attack on our humanity by sexual liberation and porn. We didn't know our leadership had been subverted by the Illuminati. Marriage and family are the essential building blocks of society. Family ensures that each new generation is properly nurtured and prepared for life. Most people receive values, purpose, identity, and love from their family roles. Heterosexuality provides life with profound meaning. There is no greater potential for love than marriage and parenthood. Raising a child is the supreme act of devotion and faith in God and is practiced and tested every day. Homosexual social engineering is gradually destroying these sources of happiness and health, both personal and societal. In normal heterosexuality, sex is reserved for the courtship and procreation stage. With parenthood, sex becomes less important and eventually becomes pretty irrelevant. Thanks to porn, we are being re-engineered to behave like homosexuals, never to marry or have children. Instead of families, we have sex. Sex from cradle to grave with multiple partners. Sex. Everywhere you look, all the time. We suffer from arrested development with an adolescent fixation on our appearance and genitals. We remain stuck in courtship mode, never maturing and developing as intended. Feminism is an excellent example of how the Rockefeller mega cartel uses the awesome power of the mass media to control society. In 40 short years, many women have lost touch with their natural loving instincts. Consequently, the family is in disarray, and sexual depravity is rampant, and birth rates have plummeted. A woman literally gives herself to her husband and children and is fulfilled by seeing them thrive and receiving their love, respect, and gratitude in return. A woman makes the supreme sacrifice to only one man who will cherish her and provide for his family. Men instinctively want to fulfill this responsibility. This is the essence of the heterosexual contract. Female power in exchange for male power expressed as love. Sex is the symbol of this exclusive bond. Marriage and family may not be for everyone, but it is the natural path for most. Feminism has trained women to reject this model as, quote, an old-fashioned, oppressive stereotype, even though it reflects their natural instincts. A British writer reported overhearing two young women talking about this subject, and they said, "All men are useless these days." "Yeah," said the other, "but the trouble is that they haven't risen to the challenge of feminism. They don't understand that we need them to be more masculine, and instead they have just copped out." So that's their logic. If women are less feminine, men will be more masculine? Men aren't designed to fight with women. They need to be affirmed by a woman's acquiescence and faith. When women constantly challenge them, men will cop out of marriage and family. So now that love and marriage has been discredited, women have nothing left to exchange for love but sex. Thus, many are unnaturally obsessed with appearance and pathetically give their bodies to all. Permanent love is not based on a woman's sex appeal or personality or achievements. Ultimately, it is based on self-sacrifice. For we love the people who love us. Aaron Russo was a famous Hollywood producer that passed away many years ago. But while trying to recruit Aaron Russo for the CFR, the Council on Foreign Relations, Nicholas Rockefeller told him that his family foundation created women's liberation using mass media control as part of a long-term plan to enslave humanity. He admitted that they wanted to, quote, chip us. You can Google Rockefeller Foundation and women's studies, and you'll get 500,000 citations on this. The hidden goal of feminism is to destroy the family, which interferes with state brainwashing of the young. Side benefits include depopulation and widening the tax base. Displacing men in the role of providers also helps to destabilize the family. A drastic paradigm shift is required to make sense of the world now. The Rockefellers are part of the private world central banking cartel that also controls media, defense, pharmaceutical, and other cartels. To protect their monopoly of credit and wealth, they are instituting a world police state, or world government, using the bogus 9/11 attacks and endless wars as a pretext. Rockefeller told Russo about this plan a year before 9/11 actually happened. The banking cartel needs a philosophy to justify enchaining mankind. That philosophy is Satanism. The cartel controls the world through a network of occult societies linked to Freemasonry, communism, the Vatican, and organized Jewry. The highest occult rank is known as the Illuminati. Modern Western culture is Masonic. It's based on Luciferianism. Freemasonry teaches that man, and not God, determines our reality. Naturally, they need to overrule natural and spiritual laws in order to assert their own control. They have noticed that people are diffident, malleable creatures who prefer to believe what they are told than trust their own reason or perception. Thus, for example, the media successfully promotes homosexual values that conflict with our natural instincts. Every facet of the mass media, which includes movies, TV, magazines, music, commercials, and news, it's all used for indoctrination and social control with the ultimate goal of enslavement. There is a connection between what happened in communist Russia and what is happening in America today. In both cases, the central banking cartel is asserting its totalitarian control. In order to destroy the family, the media convinced women that they could not rely on the heterosexual contract any longer. Myrna Blythe was the editor-in-chief of Ladies' Home Journal from 1981 to 2002. In her book called Spin Sisters, written in 2004, she says the media sold women a career in exactly the same drum-banging way that the happy homemaker had been sold to their mothers. The Illuminati undermined women's natural loving instincts using the following mantras. Number 1, men can no longer be trusted. Using the Lifetime Network as an example, Blythe concluded that all men are, quote, unfaithful rats, abusive monsters, dishonest scumbags, or all of the above. Women, on the other hand, were seen as flinty achievers who triumph despite the cavemen who want to keep them in their place. Number 2, that women are victims by virtue of their sex. Blythe says the media sends one message loud and clear: because we are women, we remain victims in our private lives, at work, in society as a whole. Thus, women must have a sense of grievance, entitlement, and rebellion. This same tactic was used to manipulate Jews, blacks, workers, and gays. Number 3, women should be selfish. Liberation and narcissism have merged, Blythe says. Leisure now means time for yourself, spent alone, or perhaps with one's girlfriends, but definitely without a spouse and kids. Endless articles preached the new feminist gospel that indulging yourself is an important part of being a healthy, well-adjusted woman. Number 4, sex is not reserved for love and marriage. Magazines like Glamour and Cosmopolitan urge young women to put out on their first date, or to ogle men openly, and to be an athlete in bed. There is no discussion of marriage or family. Such women can't trust a man enough to surrender themselves in love. And number 5, self-fulfillment lies in career success and not husband and family. The social rewards of holding down a job are critical to one's sense of dignity and self-worth, Betty Friedan pontificated. In fact, most work is deeply ordinary, Blythe observes. Thus, many women are schizophrenic as they attempt to reconcile their natural instincts with constant exhortations to do the opposite. The wreckage is broken families and dysfunctional people, and you see it everywhere. At the same time, Playboy magazine aimed a similar message at men that you don't need to get married to have sex, and that marriage and children are a bore. This consistent media drumbeat is organized brainwashing. Society has been totally subverted by the central banking cartel using a satanic cult, Freemasonry, as its primary instrument. Most Masons are unaware of the truth, but the owners of the mass media certainly are. We used to have a saying, as American as motherhood and apple pie, but only Satanists would trash motherhood. Far from empowering women, feminism has unsexed many. It has deprived them of a secure and valued social role and reduced them to sex objects and replaceable workers. Luciferians promote rebellion because they are defying what is natural and conducive to happiness. Like their symbol, Lucifer, they wish to play God. God's love can be seen in woman's dedication to her husband and children. Thus the bankers must destroy it. And that concludes the articles. I had recently read one of these articles on one of my chat shows, and it was very powerful, had a really good response. And that's why I wanted to share this with you. I think the subject's incredibly important. And what makes the information of these articles that much more intense, at least to me, is to consider the fact that they were written several years ago. If you look at our world today and read these articles once again, they could have been written yesterday. So thanks again for checking out the video. Take care out there, you guys, and I'll talk to you real soon.